What's good, YouTube? Sam Webb back again with another video on building a Shopify website from scratch. In today's video, I'm going to discuss the difference between static and dynamic sections. So, let's get started. Before we get into the code, I want to briefly talk about the two main differences between static and dynamic sections. One is where they can be used. So, static sections can be used anywhere on your website. And if you have a Shopify Plus, they can also be used on checkout. But dynamic sections, on the other hand, can only be used on one page, and that's the home page, or index.liquid. Two, static sections are, I guess, persistent would be a good word to describe them. Basically, when you add the same section to multiple files, multiple template files, the content is shared between all of them. So if you, in other words, the content you add to a static section is not unique to the page in which you add the content. Dynamic sections, though, can be thought of as miniature content templates. You can add multiple of the same section to the home page, and you'll still have different content for each one. So with that really quick overview on kind of the two main differences, now let's actually get into it. So what you see on my screen is the home page. So if you look at my URL, it's just localhost 3000. So I'm on the home page, and I've got this kind of H1 here that says home page. What you see below it is this kind of image with this kind of text box over it that on hover darkens. And so this is a section. So if you hop over to the landing page, you see that on this page the URL is pages/landing page, and we've got the title landing page here, and it has the exact same image, text, and content. So first off, I'm going to hop into the customize window. So I'm in my theme, and what you'll see here, we're on the home page. What you see here is we have this section called banner, and if I go into it, it's got no settings right now, and we're going to change that in a minute. And then if we go over to the landing page, we'll see that we have the exact same banner section. So firstly, I'm going to hop into the code, and let's kind of go over really quick recap of the structure of a section. So firstly, you'll have your HTML and whatever HTML is going to be. Then you'll have this schema tag, which holds all the different settings. You'll have a name for it. You'll have some settings, which would probably be, headline and the body copy here and the image. And then you have presets. Now presets is going to be something that's specific to dynamic sections. So for right now, we can just disregard this and think of this for now as a static section. And so the way static sections are invoked is you directly call them on the page. So you'll see on page.liquid, I've got section banner here. And you'll see on index.liquid, I've also got section banner. And if we hop in here and make some of this content editable, let's say we want a type of text, we want ID of headline, label, headline, and default, just so we don't have to go into the admin and change anything, of also headline, since that's what it says right here. And then we're going to replace this with section.settings.headline, and we're going to do a similar thing with this text here, which is we're going to add another setting. This time we'll do a text area ID, just call it copy, or actually we'll just call it text, I guess. Label, text, and default as well for this, with that in there. And same thing here, section.settings.text. Save that, and when we load these pages, we'll see we've got the exact same content, so nothing has changed for the front end. But if we hop in here and refresh the page, we'll see that now we have these in here. We could change this and take note. We're on the landing page, right? And so we're going to change this headline to say something else. I'm going to save this. We'll hop back over to the landing page. We're going to refresh. So that worked. And so notice we changed that on the landing page specifically. So if I go to the home page and hit refresh, let's see what happens. Oh, it changed here as well. And so that's what I meant by static sections. The content is shared between them. And so if we go back to the code here, when you're invoking this section, everywhere that you invoke it, it will share content between all of the different locations. So in this case, we only have it on these two pages. But if we had this on every page on the site, anywhere we changed it, it would change it for everywhere, if that makes sense. So that is a static section. That's basically the simple layout of a static section. That's how it works. Now, I want to go back here and go to, actually not there, I want to go to the home page again. You see we have this here, but we also have this add section button here. Now you notice we didn't have that on the landing page. And this ties into dynamic sections. So a dynamic section for the home page is basically a template of a section, and you can add as many as you want to the home page. And so if we go back to, first we'll go to this banner, and back to this presets. So presets are kind of some kind of preset things that you can add into it, but that you can add into a section when it's invoked on that page. But an important thing to note here is that we have this first object here, and what this has is category and name. So when we click new, when we click this add new section, we're going to have to pick, it's going to be categorized under image with text, and the name of it's going to be banner. And instead of kind of explaining it, and these are the only two required fields, but instead of trying to explain presets too deeply, just know that these are the two fields that you require to make a section be available as a dynamic section on the home page. And I'm going to show you how that works. So now I'm going to hit add section. We've got a bunch of different sections here, but you'll see that we have this image with text category here. If we go back, we've got the image with text category there. Then we've got the name banner, and we've got banner here. So what we can do is we can hit banner. What you see now is we've added another one. So I'm going to click add, and I'm going to back out really quickly. So we've got banner. This is the static section that we added before, and this is the dynamic section. And so what you can see just from immediately, you can see that the text in them is different, or at least the headline is different, right? And that's because the content in a dynamic section is scoped to that specific instance of the section. It doesn't leak out to other scopes. And so if I open this and say I like Shopify, and I save this, you see that when I scroll back up, this one still says something else, and this one still says I love Shopify. And if we switch over to the landing page and we refresh the page here, it's refreshed, it still says something else, but we come here and we refresh the page, something else, and I love Shopify. And that's the main difference between sections, between dynamic sections and static sections. One, it's invoked in the code, and it is the same across every page. Whereas dynamic sections, they're kind of the scaffold for a dynamic section is created in the code, but it's invoked in this section sidebar here. And like I mentioned before, we can invoke it as many times as we want. Image with text here, and then banner. I guess that's confusing. But image with text here, and then banner. You see, we add another one. So now we've got something else. We've got I love Shopify, and we've got headline. If I actually click add, it actually adds it to the page. And this time I'll change the text. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Gangster Ipsum, which has very interesting lorem ipsum text. I'm going to grab this sentence here, paste that in. Also, that's where I got that other sentence from. I'm going to save that, refresh this page, and then we go back to the top. We've got something else. We've got I love Shopify. We've got headline. Now, in an ideal situation, you would also make this image editable down here using the image picker, and you would make this alt text be pulled from the image. So there's an edit on the image where you can edit the alt text. That's where you want to pull that from, and possibly even the color of the text. Maybe they want to use a different colored image and they want some different text, and so maybe this background on this text changes, and maybe the actual text color changes. These are all settings you could play with, but in general, that is the main difference between a static section and a dynamic section. So if you have any other questions, make sure you go down to the comments and let me know, and I'll definitely be willing to do videos on any other topics that you guys might have questions on. And with that, I want to say thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Hey, so I forgot to mention, into the video a little soon, and forgot to mention that I also plan to do a video that explains how you can mimic a lot of the behaviors of a dynamic section with a static section. So the ability to kind of move things up and down the page and kind of have different pieces of it be sort of scaffolds of a section instead of having to like add an entire section to the page and it not really being and then not really being able to move it around the page or anything. So I'm gonna explain that in the next video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Alright, see you then. Bye.